Good afternoon. Today we're diving into HBA, one of the most interesting and controversial projects in the crypto market. As of today, January 24, 2026, HBAR is trading at 0.108, 0.112 with daily trading volumes exceeding 300 million. But what really stands behind this price? Why are massive companies like Google, IBM, and Tata Communications investing in this project? And most importantly, does it make sense to buy HBAR right now? Over the last 7 days, the price has fallen 8%. Over the last month, it's down 7%. This looks like a bearish sign, but let's dig deeper, because behind these boring numbers lies a technological revolution that many people are missing. Part 1. The technology that changes everything. Most people think of blockchain as a single concept. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, they all work the same way, right? Wrong. And this is where Hedera Hashgraph enters the picture. Blockchain is, simply put, a chain of blocks. Each block contains transaction information, and they're linked together. But there's a problem. It's slow and expensive. Bitcoin processes roughly 6-8 transactions per second. Ethereum is slightly faster, 12-15 operations per second. For a global financial system, this is frankly ridiculous. Hedera uses a completely different approach hashgraph technology. Instead of a linear chain of blocks, it uses a graph, specifically a directed acyclic graph, to be precise. This sounds complicated, but it's actually brilliantly simple. Imagine a system where information spreads not like a line of soldiers, but like gossip in a crowd. Each node in the network whispers information to its neighbors randomly. Those neighbors, in turn, pass it along. This is called the gossip protocol. Because of this, information reaches the entire network much faster. Then virtual voting happens. And here's the key moment. Nodes don't exchange messages about voting. Instead, each node independently calculates how the entire network would vote based on what they already know about each other. And they all reach the same conclusion. This is called asynchronous Byzantine fault tolerance, ABFT. It's one of the highest security levels in distributed systems. What's the result? Hedera can process more than 10 zero transactions per second. That's 0 times faster than Bitcoin, and finality is achieved in seconds, not minutes or hours. And now for the sweet part for your wallet. The cost of a single transaction on Hedera is approximately 0.0001. On Ethereum during peak periods, this can be 100 or more. Imagine you want to send money to a friend in another country. On Ethereum, it could cost more than the amount you're sending. On Hedera, it's practically free. Energy consumption? Hedera consumes 0 times less electricity than Bitcoin. If Bitcoin equals the electricity of a small country, Hedera equals the electricity of a small office. Part 2. Who cares about all this anyway? Okay, the technology is cool, but why does it matter in the real world? Let's look at Hedera's partners. First, Tata Communications, one of India's largest telecommunications companies. They fully integrated Hedera into their billing operations. This isn't a pilot project, not a test. This is battle-tested implementation, and it serves more than 300 service providers. If Tata makes even a fraction of profit from this, other companies will pay attention. Second, Lloyds Banking Group and Aberdeen, two of the largest financial companies in the UK. They used Hedera to tokenize UK government bonds. Real money, real assets. On the Hedera platform, the government trusts this technology with its own bonds. That's a stamp of quality. Third, the Reserve Bank of Australia is working with Hedera on the Acacia project. This is research into issuing Australia's central digital dollar. When central banks test a technology, it means it's reliable and scalable enough. Fourth, Google and IBM support the project. Google doesn't randomly pick projects, they do it because they see potential. What about practical examples? EcoGuard Global launched a carbon offset platform on Hedera. This is a platform for reducing carbon emissions. Americot 150 is using Hedera for digital experiences for the 250th anniversary of the USA. Mingo is launching NFT tickets sold in 54 African countries. These are all living, working examples. Part 3. Real blockchain stablecoins and DeFi. But let's be honest, all these partnerships look good on PowerPoint slides. Where's the real crypto hype? Where are the wild prices like in 2021? The problem was that Hedera lagged in DeFi decentralized finance. While Ethereum, Solana, and others were building entire application ecosystems, Hedera was mostly a platform for corporate projects. Boring stuff for corporations, not traders. But this is changing. In 2026, Hedera is preparing to launch several stablecoins. Stablecoins are cryptocurrencies pegged to the dollar or other fiat currencies. They're stable in price, but they have all the advantages of blockchain, speed, cheapness, transparency. For DeFi, this is critical, because you can't build a decent financial ecosystem without stablecoins. Once stablecoins launch, financial applications will start being built on Hedera, DeFi protocols that will let people lend, borrow, and trade. Exchanges where you can swap one cryptocurrency for another. Everything that the crypto finance community lives on. And here's where the real price growth potential begins. Because when there are interesting applications on a platform, capital flows in. And capital seeks an exit in the token used by this ecosystem. In our case, that's HBAR. Part 4. Price, support, and liquidity. Let's look at prices and technical analysis. Currently, the price is between 0.11 and 0.12. This is a critical zone. If the price falls below 0.114, this can trigger liquidation of more than 1 million in long positions on futures markets. Simply put, people lose their positions, and this creates additional downward pressure. The price could fall even lower, and then a cascade of liquidations begin. This is called a liquidation spiral. But there's good news too. Spot ETFs for Hedera, these are investment funds that track the HBAR price. They attracted 770 in investments in just one day on January 13. This is the third consecutive day of positive inflows. For a young asset, this is a very positive signal. It means institutional investors see value in Hedera. Technical analysis indicates target levels of 0.145, 0.16 in the short term if the price holds support at current levels. That's a profit of 47% from the current price. For a volatile market, that's quite realistic. At the resistance level, we find 0.125. If HBAR breaks above this level on good volume, it could be the beginning of a more serious upward move. Part 5. What analysts are predicting. Most analysts predict that in 2026, HBAR will trade in the range of 0.18, 0.2 on average. That's a 50-60% increase from current level. If key milestones are reached, deployment of stablecoins, large-scale digital identity projects, DeFi expansion, the price could break through technical resistance around 0.25, 0.35. This is already a longer-term project, but the potential is there. Long-term forecasts over several years are different scenarios. If Hedera becomes the main platform for tokenizing assets and stablecoins in the global economy, the potential is much higher. Some analysts talk about 0.51 over the next 2-3 years. But that's speculation. Part 6. Risks and what to watch out for. 1. Now let's talk about risk. Because all investments carry risk. First, risk. Regulation. Cryptocurrency regulation is still in its infancy. If Europe or the US introduces restrictions on crypto investments, it could hit HBAR as hard as other tokens. Second risk, competition. Hedera isn't the only project promising speed and low fees. Solana, Polkadot, Avalanche, they also have their advantages and their ecosystems. If one of them takes market share, it will affect Hedera. Third risk, ecosystem. Yes, Hedera has partners, but let's be honest. The DeFi ecosystem on Hedera is much smaller than on Ethereum. This means fewer applications, less liquidity, less activity. Stablecoins could change this, but it takes time. Fourth risk, competition from central banks. If central banks issue their own digital currencies, they could replace certain blockchain functions. Although Hedera helps central banks, there's no guarantee they'll use Hedera specifically. Fifth risk, technical failure. While Hedera's technology seems solid, there's always a risk that a critical bug or vulnerability in the code will be discovered. Part 7. Why 2026 is critical for HBAR. 2026 is a critical year for Hedera. Here's why. First, stablecoin deployment. This isn't just a protocol upgrade. It's a completely new ecosystem that will open up after launch. Second, expansion of Hedera's governing council. In 2025, the company restructured its council to include more diverse industries. In 2026, they'll continue adding new companies, especially from the financial and technology sectors. Third, carbon and data mining project. Tracking carbon credits, billing energy usage, supply chain management, all of this requires a reliable, cheap, and fast blockchain. Hedera is perfect for this. Fourth, expansion into developing countries. Hedera has established partnerships in India, Africa, and other regions. As it expands here, demand for HBAR could grow. Part 8. The investment thesis. So, should you buy HBAR? It depends on your risk profile and time horizon. If you're a long-term investor, 3-5 years, Hedera presents an interesting opportunity. The technology is real, the partners are real, and growth potential exists. If you're a trader with a short-term horizon, days or weeks, you need to watch the technical levels I mentioned. Support at 0.11, resistance at 0.125, target levels at 0.145, 0.16. If you're a conservative investor who fears risk, maybe it's worth waiting. Wait until stablecoins launch and the DeFi ecosystem starts growing. Part 9. Interesting facts and figures. Let's review the key numbers again, because they're really impressive. Hedera processes over 0 transactions per second, that's 625 million transactions per hour. By comparison, Visa processes roughly 0 per second, but Hedera is catching up. Transaction cost is 0.0001. This means you can send money to a friend in another country for pennies. On Ethereum during peak periods, this could be 100. Finality speed is seconds. On Bitcoin, it's 10 minutes. On Ethereum, it's a few minutes. Energy consumption is 100, 0 times less than Bitcoin. This means you can use blockchain without feeling guilty about the environment. Hedera's market cap is roughly 9-10 billion. This makes it one of the largest crypto projects by market capitalization, but it's still far from Ethereum, over 200 billion, and Bitcoin, over 600 billion. Part 10. Scenarios for 2026. Let's consider 3 scenarios for 2026. Scenario 1. Optimistic. Stablecoins launch successfully, the DeFi ecosystem starts growing. Partners bring real transaction volume. Price reaches 0.25, 0.35 by year-end. That's a 2.53x increase from current levels. Scenario 2. Base case. HBAR stays in the 0.15, 0.25 range, gradually growing, but without sharp moves. That's a 3,100% increase. The ecosystem grows, but slower than expected. Scenario 3. Pessimistic. The crypto market experiences a downturn, regulation becomes stricter, HBAR falls to 0.08, 0.1. That's a 25% drop from current price. The ecosystem continues growing, but investor interest fades. Part 11. Practical tips for investors. If you decide to invest in HBA, here are some practical tips. First, diversification. Don't put all your money into one project. HBAR should be part of a portfolio, not the entire portfolio. Second, buy on dips. If the price drops to the supports .0.11, .0.1, those are good entry points. Third, set a stop loss. If the price falls below your comfort level, sell and reduce your risk. Fourth, follow the news. Any announcements about stablecoin launches, new partners, or protocol updates can move the price. Fifth, only use money you can afford to lose. The crypto market is volatile. Worst case scenario, 100% loss. Part 12. Competitors and alternatives. Let's look at Hedera's competitors. Ethereum is the king of DeFi, but fees are high. Solana is fast and cheap, but has a history of technical issues. Polkadot is a bridge between blockchains, but slower than Hedera. Cardano takes an academic approach, but the ecosystem is smaller. Avalanche is another fast platform, but without the same support from major companies. Hedera stands out because it has support from major companies and central banks, but the DeFi ecosystem is weaker than Ethereum. It's a double-edged sword. Part 13. Hedera's history and path to today. Hedera was founded in 2016 as Swirlds. In 2018, the Hedera Hashgraph mainnet was launched. Over these 8 years, the company has experienced many ups and downs. In 2018-2019, Hedera was mostly of interest to corporate partners. Crypto traders weren't particularly interested. In 2020-2021, when the entire crypto market was booming, HBAR also went up, but not as sharply as other projects. In 2022, when the crypto market crashed, HBAR crashed even harder. This was a period of despair. In 2023-2024, the company focused on corporate partnerships and technical development. Crypto traders weren't particularly affected. In late 2024, early 2025, interest returned. Spot ETFs, bank partnerships, ecosystem development, HBAR started rising. And here we are in 2026. This could be a turning point. Part 14. What signals to watch? If you want to track Hedera's development and make investment decisions, here are the signals to watch. Signal 1. Stablecoin launch. This will be one of the biggest events for HBAR. Signal 2. Growing network activity. If transactions are growing exponentially, that's a good sign. Signal 3. New partnerships with well-known companies, especially in fintech and payments. Signal 4. DeFi application development. This will show that Hedera is becoming interesting beyond just corporations. Signal 5. Positive regulation. If regulators start viewing crypto favorably, it will lift the entire sector. Signal 6. Price above 0.15. This is a technical breakthrough point that could trigger a larger move. Part 15. Conclusion and key takeaways. So, let's summarize everything we've discussed. Hedera Hashgraph is not just another crypto project. It's real technology with real partners. Google, IBM, Tata Communications, Lloyds Banking Group, Reserve Bank of Australia. This isn't fantasy, it's reality. The technology works. It's fast, cheap, reliable, and energy efficient. This isn't a promise, it's a fact. The price right now is in an interesting zone. Technical support at 0.11, target levels at 0.14, 50.16. Long-term potential by end of 2026 is 0.2, 50.35. There are risks: regulation, competition, technical issues. smaller ecosystem compared to Ethereum, but the potential could outweigh the risks. 2026 could be a turning point year for Hedera. Stablecoin launch, ecosystem expansion, new partnerships, all of this could happen this year. My personal take. HBAR is interesting for long-term investors willing to wait 1-2 years for results. For short-term traders, it's a more volatile asset requiring attention to technical levels. If you invest in HBAR, remember, only invest money you can afford to lose. The crypto market is not for the faint of heart. Thank you for your attention. If you like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and leave a comment. What's your take on HBAR? Do you hold this token in your portfolio? Let's discuss in the comments. See you in the next video.